profoundly evil people walking the streets right now. I don't handicap myself with rules.
You ain't no police. That's that book.
He can't be like this.
I'm the police. King Kong ain't got nothing on me.
You never know. That's the point. Training Day. Rated R. Starts October 5th.
So in Los Angeles, a city where streets are overrun by drug dealers, those who have sworn to uphold the law are breaking them to clean up the streets. Denzel Washington plays an LAPD detective, a veteran narcotics officer, whose methods of enforcing the law are questionable, if not corrupt. Training Day follows Harris as he's joined by rookie Jake Hoyt, played by Ethan Hawke, on a 24-hour period. Ethical dilemmas arise for Hoyt as well as the audience as questions present themselves as to whether or not Harris's methodology for ridding the streets of South Central Los Angeles of drugs is right or wrong. I mean, honestly, if you watch the movie the first time around, you could pretty much figure out which side Denzel Washington is on, and for that, that just makes it all the more awesome for him in this movie. I mean, you can see why he won the Oscar for Best Actor here, why Ethan Hawke was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, because they're both fantastic to watch in this movie. They're both very good. The story takes place over the course of a 24-hour period, and it's just very well done. It's a movie that is very intense, very in your face, very much making you wonder, how is this going to end when it's all said and done? It keeps you on the edge of your seat. In a movie like this, it's very well done. Like, the cast in this movie is fantastic alone. Like, not only just Washington and Hawke alone, but also you have Scott Glenn, Cliff Curtis, Eva Mendes, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Macy Gray. A good cast overall in this movie, and great direction by Antoine Fuqua, and also the writing of David Ayer. It's a really good movie, man. I don't think I really need to say too much more about this movie. It hasn't already been said already. It's one of the reasons why I say that Denzel Washington is one of our greatest actors, because this is, if not the greatest actor, because of this movie right here. I mean, he commands the screen in this film. When he's on screen, his presence is felt, and he really does give the best performance of the entire movie. Like, it has lines to it. It's had a lasting legacy, a terrible TV series that was on CBS for only one season, and not surprising, it was on CBS. I mean, if the network that couldn't do Rush Hour and True Lies couldn't, in series form, try to do it with Training Day, what did you think was going to happen? Like, it was already done on Arrival the moment when somebody said, let's swap the roles around. Like, it's going to be the Ethan Hawke character now as the corrupt cop, and the black cop is going to be the guy who's the rookie, and it just didn't work out. But this movie is great. I don't think I need to say too much more about this one. Training Day, what more can I say? It's a phenomenal film. If you have not seen it, you are doing yourself a major, major disservice by not doing so. So, that's Training Day. Let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is John Cusack and Kate Beckinsale in Serendipity.
Give me your phone number. October 5th.
Fate's telling us to back off.
You don't have the most incredible night of your life with a perfect stranger, then leave it all to chance, do you? No name. I gotta find this girl before I get married. No address.
I'm thinking about this mystery guy I met 1.5 million hours ago.
Just fate.
Once in your lifetime, someone comes along whom you're meant to be with. For my friend, that person was me.
Serendipity. Rated PG-13. In theaters everywhere. Friday, October 5th.
What a bitch. But then again, it's Kate Beckinsale. It's the same person that was cock-teasing Ben Affleck and Josh Hartnett in Pearl Harbor, so what the hell did you think was going to happen here? But, yeah, John Cusack and Kate Beckinsale, they meet while shopping for gloves in New York City. Though buying for their respective lovers, the magic was right, and on the night of Christmas shopping turns into romance. John wants to explore things further, but Sarah wasn't sure their love was meant to be. They decided to test fate by splitting up and seeing if destiny brought them back together. Many years later, having lost faith on each other that night, both were engaged to be married. Still, neither could shake the need to give fate one last chance to reunite them. John enlisted help of his best man, played by Jeremy Piven, to track down the girl he can't forget starting at the store where they met. Sarah asked her new-age musician's fiancé for a break before the wedding, and with her best friend in tow, flies from California to New York, hoping destiny will bring her soulmate back. Near misses and classic Shakespearean confusion bring the two closer to meeting a number of times, but fate will have the final word on whether it was meant to be. And, you know, you could probably see a much better movie like this in Only You, which has Robert Downey Jr. and Marissa Tomei, and came out almost 10 years prior to this, which was really well done. It was a great movie about two lovers, about this woman who wanted to find love, and had a name written down, and this person calls her just as she's about to get married, and she decides to take the leap and go find this person, who turns out to be Robert Downey Jr., and turns out not to be him in the long run. To me, I think that works better than this movie does, but I will say it's not a bad movie, but it's one that's just kind of like, it's fine for what it is. Like, the chemistry between John Cusack and Kate Beckinsale is fine, I guess. It's nothing too spectacular or nothing too groundbreaking in particular, but I guess it does the job well enough, and I do think it is a lighthearted romantic comedy, but it definitely falls into the typical romantic comedy tropes. I mean, it falls into a lot of contrivances we see all the time in movies like this, and really, once you've seen one, you've seen them all, and unless you can do something really, really good and special with it, it just doesn't work. It just won't make it a great film overall. It's a fine film for what it is, but it's one that I'm never going to watch again after watching it the first time around, but I digress. That's serendipity. So, on to the next movie, and that is Paul Walker and Steve Zahn in Joyride.
One night.
I'll be at the Lone Star Motel.
What room?
Room 17.
It started out as a simple prank.
We had a little incident here last night. The victim was staying in room 17. Ripped his jaw. Kino.
But now, Joe, you really ought to get that fixed.
Shit, what fix?
Is on them. Your tail light. Joyride. Rated R. October 5th.
So the story of Joyride is that you have three young people on a road trip who are talking to a trucker on their CB radio. Then they must escape when he turns out to be a psychopathic killer. So it's kind of a mix between Duel and The Hitcher, kind of mixed together. It's a movie where you have somebody following these random people who are thinking they're playing along with a joke at first, and then when they realize how serious it turns out to be, then the tension begins to build, and you get a movie that has a lot of tension with it. And you have a script written by J.J. Abrams and also Clay Tarver, which is a name that you might be familiar with mostly for his comedic work with Silicon Valley. He did the script for this with J.J. Abrams, along with some projects with Mike Judge. And a very interesting turn for him. I mean, it's a very interesting film for him to take on. And it's a movie that is very enjoyable. I mean, there is a lot of good tension-filled moments here. You kind of want these guys to get their comeuppance because they're the ones that kind of started it. But the movie does a good job of giving them a sense of, we want to like these characters, and we want them to survive. And they do a very good job with that. I think Paul Walker does a very good job with that. So does Steve Zahn. So does Lily Sobieski, who's also in the film. Ted Levine, who does the voice of the killer in this, who's also the Buffalo Bill, I thought was a nice touch too as well. I thought he did a very good job of handling that. It's a very tension-filled movie, and it does keep you on the edge of your seat and wondering how it's going to end and what's going to happen next. But it's a very good film. I definitely recommend checking it out. Sequels avoid like the plague. They're direct-to-video sequels. They don't have any of the original cast members back in them, so chances are it's not going to be that good. And that's probably give you the first warning right there not to see those films. But so that's Joyride. So let's go ahead and move on to our last film, and that is Disney's Max Keeble's Big Move.
October 5th. Meet the kid everyone's talking about. Max Keeble's Big Move. Rated PG in theaters October 5th.
That's probably the best joke in the entire movie, but you ever see a movie where you think to yourself, man, this had to have been a Disney Channel original movie that they decided to blow up for the big screen? Maybe you didn't, but that's how I felt about this movie. This looked like a Disney Channel movie they blew up for the big screen because, man, I remember hearing about this movie back in the day, and when I finally got to watch it, when it finally came out on video, almost a year later, which should probably tell you right there, the fact that back then, it was usually a 4-month difference between theatrical and then, the video release of a movie. It's the fact that I remember this coming out, I think on video around June or something, June or July. This is not because the movie was a big hit. No, far from it. This movie was not the biggest hit at the box office, but it didn't get the worst reviews from critics. But if you're wondering what the story is, you have Max, played by Alex D. Linz, the kid from Home Alone 3, and his friends. They go to junior high school, only to learn that Max's family will soon move elsewhere. Max resolves to get even with those who bully him and his friends before he leaves, since he will not remain there long enough to face discipline for anything he does. But surprise, surprise, the world of comedy hijinks says, oh, they're not moving after all. So it's just like, yeah, this kid's pretty much fucked with some of the stuff that he does in this movie. But the thing about this movie to me is that it felt like a movie that it was trying to be like Snow Day. In fact, it has two of the same kids from Snow Day in it, Josh Peck and also Xena Gray, who played the main girl character in that movie. And it felt like a movie that was trying to be its own Snow Day mixed in with a little bit of Pete and Pete, which then again, Pete and Pete was Snow Day was supposed to be a Pete and Pete movie back in the day, and the movie really does not make a whole lot of sense in general when you really think about it. I mean, what's supposed to happen when he realizes that, you know, the movie just, like, it really doesn't know exactly what it's trying to accomplish here? Because really, in the end, nothing really changes with anybody. I mean, Max somehow gets a little bit more popular, I guess, because he took down Larry Miller as the principal, which, even for Larry Miller being in this movie, I thought he was weak, man. Like, Larry Miller, you put him in a movie, and he will usually be the one positive thing about it that will always be very positive to watch about him. And even in this movie, I don't think he's really given a whole lot to do, honestly. It's a movie where they have a lot of good talent in this film. I mean, you know, Jamie Kennedy's also in here, Nora Dunn, Lizzie McGuire's dad, Robert Carradine's in this as well, Orlando Brown, Noel Fisher, Clifton Davis, Justin Burfield, Amy Hill, Amber Valletta, Dennis Haskins, Tony Hawk is in this movie as a cameo in this. But Dante Basco is also in here as well, too. But they have good talent in here, but the script just really is not... It doesn't feel like a film that was intended... Like I said, it was intended to be a big screen release. Like, it felt like a movie that was supposed to go straight to the Disney Channel, but someone said, that kid from Home Alone's popular, we think, so let's make a movie about... Let's put him on the big screen. I mean, hey, it worked for Snow Day, but Snow Day worked because Snow Day was actually a fun movie and actually made sense. It appealed to the kids who were watching it back then and had that love and feel of an actual Snow Day whenever that happened. That movie works because kids can relate to that. You can't relate to anything in this goddamn movie. I mean, it feels like a real ripoff of Snow Day, right down to the evil ice cream man, who is basically the evil snowplow man from Chris Elliott from Snow Day, and the principal. He's much more of a monster in this movie compared to what he was in the original Snow Day. In Snow Day, I mean, it really felt like Disney saw Snow Day and said, well, shit, we can make our own version of this. And they didn't. They just didn't have anything there to make this movie feel like a film that they had to put on the big screen. I don't even know why it went to the big screen, to be quite honest with you, because nothing about this movie felt big screen worthy for the script department, except for the big cast that they have in here, but... it just didn't work. It was really one of those movies where I was just like, when I finally got a chance to finally see it, I was majorly let down by it when it was all said and done, because it's just like, I've seen this done so much better with Snow Day. I mean, it's literally Disney's attempt to create a Nickelodeon-style movie, but not even in the best way possible. And Tim Hill's a good director who's made some decent stuff, decent fun stuff in general. Like, he works on SpongeBob SquarePants. He did Muppets from Space, which maybe was not the best Muppet movie, but was still fun. Now that I think about it, but he did Alvin and the Chipmunks, the first Alvin and the Chipmunks movie, the live-action one, which was, I'll give that one credit. It actually was not as bad as people made it out to be. And it certainly is the best of the live-action ones compared to what follows after that. He did the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run, which was a lot of fun. I mean, he's a decent director. I mean, and, you know, this is one of those ones where it's just like, this is one of those ones that makes you feel like maybe you probably should have stuck to animation, really, because this really isn't working in your favor, man. But, like, I digress. I mean, it's got some people find it as a nostalgic feeling for it, just like I do with a lot of movies that not a lot of people really like. But hey, me personally, I did not find too much to like about Max Keeple's big move. At least in my personal opinion, I didn't.
Every time you rob a bank, getting caught. Joe, ma'am, we're going to need to borrow your car. It's a really lovely dress. Please. Terry, every nickel that we spend is a nickel that we have to steal. Kate, she's mentally unbalanced to a spectacular degree.
I can hear you.
On the road to riches. There's bound to be some breakdown.
Ma'am, please go back to prison.
Bandits.
Maybe it's time to quit.
We can't just quit now, Kate. We're not qualified for anything else.
Rated PG-13. Starts October 12th.
So after busting out of prison, Bruce Willis and Billy Bob Thornton play two robbers who are on the run and out of money. That changes when they devise a scheme to place bank managers under house arrest the night before they rob their banks. But success as the infamous sleepover bandits isn't the only change in store for them. As they cross state lines and federal lines, they meet another burglar, not a burglar, but a sexy, eccentric housewife played by Kate Blanchett, whose indecision as to which of the two bandits she wants could spoil their partnership for good. This is directed by Barry Levinson, who, honestly, kind of at this point of his career, he was kind of in a downward slump. I mean, he hadn't made a great movie since Wag the Dog, and even some movies that he actually did make that were actually pretty good, like Liberty Heights, weren't big hits and really were kind of overlooked, and nobody really even knew they existed until he was found by the video store. I mean, a lot of his best later stuff wouldn't come until he started doing movies for HBO. I mean, you don't know, Jack is great. The movie he did about Joe Paterno was actually really good. In terms of the movies he put out in theaters, they were more miss than hit. There were a couple of little surprises here and there, especially his next movie, what we'll get to when we get to 2004, but this is one of those misses. It's a movie that I think has a lot of potential with the cast overall, but everything else about the movie is kind of generic. It's not really that great of a crime movie. It runs a little bit too long. It's over 2 hours long, and you don't buy into the chemistry between either Bruce Willis or Kate Blanchett or Billy Bob Thornton, and those are supposed to be your critical things that are keeping the movie together, along with how they're going to pull off this heist. And honestly, the more I think about it, there really wasn't a whole lot of laughs I had with this movie either, which is kind of like, I mean, that was kind of amusing, but nothing really made me laugh out loud, and there was nothing about it that really made me say, I'm glad I watched this movie. It was mostly kind of a letdown, honestly, the more I think about it. It was a movie that basically kind of was just here and there. It's doesn't really have anything that makes it anything unique or stand out, and it just didn't work in the long run. I was really let down by this movie the more I think about it, and yeah, despite the good people that are in the cast, the director overall, it wasn't one of his better films. It was mostly a letdown, honestly, the more I think about it. But that's Bandits for you. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is Chris Kattan in Corky Romano. Chris Kattan's first real attempt to make a movie career after his time on Saturday Night Live. He plays the title character who is a veteran who is forced by his mobster family to infiltrate the local FBI facility to steal evidence incriminating his father, played by Peter Falk, of racketeering charges. And too much of a little bit of blue streak in there, and I really feel like that was kind of the inspiration for this particular movie. Like, you have a criminal who, well, he's not even a criminal in this movie, but it has kind of the same concept here. I mean, in Blue Streak, a criminal has to infiltrate the police station to get information on where this diamond is, but here it's this guy who has to go into the FBI, get this evidence that will hurt his father in the long run, and it was an unexpected hit. It was one of those movies that you would almost swear from the trailer, from the commercials, that this was going to flop from the get-go, but made double its money back at the box office. It was actually a surprise hit when it came out in theaters. Everyone was just like, where the hell did this come from? I actually remember going to see this in theaters back in October 2001. And I don't know. I thought it was alright. Well, as a 12-year-old watching it, I was just kind of like, I got some laughs here and there. I find myself saying it's kind of fun. But the more I go back to it, the more I realize that it's probably not as good as I remember it. And from the little bits I've seen from it, I haven't seen it in a long time. From the little bits I've seen from it, it definitely feels like a movie that probably would have been produced by Adam Sandler, but shockingly, this is not a Happy Madison production, believe it or not, even though two of the producers of The Waterboy are on it. But it just wasn't funny, man. Like, it wasn't really that funny. It wasn't really that clever overall. It was a movie that was just kind of like, hey, let's see what Chris Kattan could do as a leading actor in a movie, and I mean, he's not bad, but he ain't that great either, honestly. It's just kind of like, like, you're trying, man. I know you're trying, but it's just like, you're not really doing it for me, pal. But, again, that's just my personal take on it, but you have Fred Ward, Vanessa Shaw, Chris Penn, Richard Roundtree among the cast as well, and I don't know, like, from what I remember from it, I thought it was kind of funny, but I've yet to watch this movie since it came out over 20 years ago, so I don't know if it's held up. Probably not for the little bits and pieces that I've seen from it, but who knows? Maybe I'm completely wrong on that. But So that's Corky Romano. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is Iron Monkey.
What does it take to defy a corrupt empire? A rebel in disguise. A monk who stands for justice. And a woman with the courage of both. From the acclaimed action choreographer of The Matrix and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Iron Monkey, rated PG-13. In theaters everywhere Friday.
I really need to do my research before I start looking these movies up. I thought this had Jackie Chan in it, but no. But it has Donnie Yen in it, and it's a Hong Kong variation of Robin Hood. The corrupt officials of a Chinese village are continually robbed by a masked bandit known as the Iron Monkey, named after a benevolent deity. When all else fails, the government forces a traveling physician into finding the bandit. The arrival of the ex-Shaolin monk, an evil Shaolin monk, brings the physician and Iron Monkey together to battle the corporate government. So, like I said, the plot is very similar to Robin Hood, and it's mostly hyped up because of the fact that it has the same guy that did the martial arts work for The Matrix and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, two of the most significant action movies of the time period. Honestly, the only version I've ever seen is the American version, where they actually added more humorous scenes in there, so I guess that it was supposed to help the box office, but actually hurt it in the long run. But from the little bits I saw, from the one that I saw from the original version of it, not the original one, the American version, I thought it was alright for what it was. I never saw the original Hong Kong version of it. But in the end, the film just kind of comes off as trying to capture the success of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon from the year before. And I guess it ended up working when it was all said and done, because the film did make money at the box office, but it wasn't, I think they were kind of looking for the Crouching Tiger type of money, but it got favorable reviews, and it was seen as a highly acclaimed film in the long run. So I guess it all worked out in the end, but like I said, I've only seen the American version of this. I've never seen the original 1993 version, so I can't really say for certain if that's better, which I assume it's better, because, let's be honest, most of the original versions of these movies since Rumble in the Bronx have been the best ones over the American versions. But from what I saw from it, I liked it. I thought it was alright, but I don't know. I'd have to see the American version to compare the two, but from what I saw, I liked it. So that is the Iron Monkey, so let's go ahead and move on to our last movie, and that is David Lynch's Mulholland Drive.
From acclaimed director David Lynch.
The girl is missing.
What do you want me to do? The deeper you go,
I don't know what my name is. That money, you don't know where it came from.
the clearer you see,
I remember something.
the stranger it gets.
You're playing a dangerous game here.
Whoever you're hiding from, they know where you are. Mulholland Drive, rated R.
David Lynch, of course, the man that gave us such classics as Twin Peaks, Wild at Heart. And in this movie, it's the story of an aspiring actress played by Naomi Watts, who newly arrives in Los Angeles and meets her friends, an amnesic woman played by Laura Herring, who's recovering from a car accident. The story follows several other vignettes and characters, including a Hollywood film director played by Justin Theroux, characters also played by Ann Miller, Robert Forster, Mark Pellegrino. This one is often considered one of David Lynch's best crowning achievements, and it's kind of hard not to see why. The movie is very much, in a world that David Lynch is much accommodated for. It's a film that very much is what David Lynch is all about. It keeps all of the crazy twists and turns. It's all insane. It's all ridiculous. It's all over the top. But it's also very compelling, too. Like, you get so invested in what the hell's going on with these characters, because David Lynch does a great job of handling, he handles this source material very well here. And great cast overall here. Naomi Watts and Laura Herring are very good together. They have a relationship that you could definitely believe in. The mystery overall is very good. The visual aspects are very well done. It's a very good film. It's a very solid film. It's definitely one of David Lynch's crowning achievements. And it was a film that helped boost Naomi Watts into the stratosphere as a leading actress, because the next year she would break out with The Ring, and then so on and so forth. And it's a really good movie. I can't recommend this one enough. I pretty much said everything that has already been said already. So, yeah. David Lynch's Mulholland Drive. It's definitely really, really good.
Usual crime. Just the way she was done, Inspector. Altogether different breed of killing. Original detective. This was all in your dreams. I saw her face. Unexpected attraction.
Your vision's about me.
Most definitely. Johnny Depp, Edgar Graham, huge brothers film. Just the best I finished. A legend. I gave birth to the 20th century. see the 20th century. From Hell, rated R, October 19th, only in theaters.
So after 5 ritualistic murders are committed in 1888 London, Inspector Abilene, played by Johnny Depp, is brought in to investigate the Jack the Ripper murders. Along with a string of mutilated prostitutes, he uncovers a conspiracy involving the government. So this is based off the graphic novel of the same name by Alan Moore, and of course this is based on the Jack the Ripper murders. You have Heather Graham as Mary Kelly, a prostitute that's targeted by the Ripper. You also have Ian Holm, Robbie Coltrane, Ian Richardson, and Jason Fleming in the cast as well. And this was also directed by the Hughes brothers, who gave us Menace to Society and Dead Presidents. And I would say this is definitely up there with some of their higher movies overall. It's an overall very good film. It has a nice visual style to it. The horror aspects, I think, are very good. You can see the production value going into full swing here. My only real complaint about the movie is the script overall. I mean, the script overall, once you get a good glimpse of the characters and you get where they're going, you can kind of figure out which direction this is going to go. And it's not necessarily great, but I've seen much worse. I mean, it's not the worst adaptation that Alan Moore's graphic novels have had. I mean, wait till we get to League of Extraordinary Gentlemen in a couple of years, but this right here is it's a decent movie. It's a movie that works beneficially mostly with the visual aspect and the casting of the two leads, Johnny Depp and Heather Graham, as well as the horror aspects. Everything else, though, is just kind of middling. I mean, you expect a whole lot more from it, especially with a story like this, the Jack the Ripper murders. This should be very compelling on so many levels, but sadly it isn't. Like, the script, I think, needed one more good rewrite in order for it to really come to life in general. But as it is, it's fine for what it is. Could have been a lot better, should have been a lot better, but certainly isn't one of the worst things that has been done to an Alan Moore book. I mean, I guess that's the best thing I can say about that one, but that is From Hell. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is Drew Barrymore in Riding in Cars with Boys.
I tell my parents about this. I can't even talk to them about the weather.
Welcome to Beverly's Life.
Pretend that I'm your parents. Mom. Pop. Yeah? I'm pregnant. My daughter's a tramp. I wish that you were never born. Okay, go.
It's a love story.
I love you.
What are you talking about?
What?
It's a comedy.
All right, everybody smile, please. Just everybody stand still.
It's a
I
boy.
didn't have a boy. I had a girl.
He had a boy, so he's gonna grow up to be just like me.
From director Penny Marshall comes the story of a girl
And God, who I love.
whose dreams took an unexpected turn.
All life is 4 or 5 big days that change everything.
Columbia Pictures invites you to take the journey
I'm crazy, Brody.
of a lifetime. Drew Barrymore,
You look beautiful, Mommy.
Riding in Cars with Boys, rated PG-13. Opens everywhere October 19th.
Based off of a book of the same name, Drew Barrymore plays the woman in this that actually wrote the book. She's a woman who's overcome difficulties, including being a teenage mother, and who later earned a master's degree, and spans between 1961 and 1986, with a cast that includes Steve Zahn, Whitney Murphy, James Woods, Lorraine Bracco. It was the last movie directed by Penny Marshall, and I don't know. It's a movie that's very odd. Like, it's a movie that I should like. It's got a lot of good performances overall. It's a Penny Marshall movie. I mean, that's my bread and butter right there. I like those type of movies. And I like Drew Barrymore. I like Steve Zahn. I like Whitney Murphy. I like James Woods. They're all very good actors. But the trailer really gives away a lot of what the movie's about. And when you actually see the film, it's just like, wow, there's literally nothing about this movie that I didn't know going into it. I mean, you can pretty much pinpoint everything that's going to happen right from the get-go. And it's not that engaging, it's not that interesting, and it should be. I mean, everybody here has tried their best, and it tries a little bit too hard to try to go to terms of endearment in many aspects, which, not to the point of that movie in particular, but it's definitely a very mixed bag of a film. It's a film that I think, it's not a bad movie per se. It's a movie that's just kind of like, it's fine, but again, kind of like with From Hell, you expect so much more from where they were going with it, from the direction that you thought they were going to take it. And I don't know, maybe they were told to tone it down from the book, but I don't know. I should be more excited about this one, but unfortunately I was just kind of like, not really that great either. Again, kind of like From Hell. Glad I saw it. Have no real intentions of ever watching it again. So that's Riding in Cars with Boys. On to the next movie, and that is The Last Castle.
Longer soldiers. Each one of you is nothing more than the shadow of a soldier.
They are prisoners. They've been murders. With one last chance.
The eagle he wears on his shoulder may make him an officer, but it doesn't give him the authority to take away who we are.
To become heroes again.
We are soldiers.
Robert Redford, James Gandolfini, Mark Ruffalo, and Delroy Lindo. The Last Castle. Rated R. Starts Friday, October 19th.
So The Last Castle stars Robert Redford, James Gandolfini, Mark Ruffalo, and Delroy Lindo, and portrays a struggle between inmates and the warden of a military prison based on the United States disciplinary barracks at Fort Leavenworth. A highly decorated U.S. Army lieutenant general, court-martialed and sentenced for insubordination, challenges the prison commandment. A colonel. I'm out of shape right now. I'm out of it right now, if you can tell. But a colonel, Toyboat, over his treatment of the prisoners. After mobilizing the inmates, the former general leads an uprising aiming to seize control of the prison. So basically, the concept of the movie overall is that the inmates have to take over the penitentiary. I mean, the inmates are running the prison, is the quote I'm trying to say here. I've been sick the last couple of days, so that's why I've been kind of like, coming out of it, pausing more, trying to get my thoughts straight here. But I'm going to keep going. I'm going to power through this one. Okay, so, anyway, this movie. Most notably about this movie, I remember, was that the poster for this movie, there was a poster where the American flag was turned upside down as a standard distress call. However, after 9/11, due to concerns about public sensitivity, they actually took that poster out of circulation, and it's become pretty much a rare poster. If you can find it somewhere, you can probably get a good massive price on it. It's online, selling online for eBay. But I digress. It's directed by Rod Laurie, who the last movie he directed was The Contender, which was not a bad movie, but certainly not a great movie either. It felt like a film that was just kind of like, eh. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. And unfortunately, that's kind of what I have to say about this particular movie right here. It's just kind of like, there's probably a very good story in this movie, but despite the good actors that are involved in it, I don't think it's enough to really carry the film overall. I think it's a movie that's trying a little too hard to be kind of like the World War II equivalent to something like, the Shawshank Redemption or something like that. It felt like kind of that type of a story, and I think the performances overall are good. Robert Redford's really good, so is James Gandolfini, but kind of like with some of the other movies we talked about this week, the script overall is really the weakest link in the movie. It's not that it's bad, it's just kind of generic. And for a story like this, I feel like there could be so much more done with this, with a better story. If they had one more good rewrite, maybe they could have saved this movie overall. But like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's just one that's just kind of like, eh. It definitely could have been benefited from having another rewrite of the script in general to make it stand out more. But as it is, it's just fine for what it is. It's just kind of like, eh, not the best, but not the worst either. So that's The Last Castle. So let's go ahead and move on to probably the best movie overall this week, and that is Richard Linklater's Waking Life.
It's like I'm being prepared for something.
I am a passenger. And I ride.
You a dreamer?
I ride through the city backsides.
So Richard Linklater directed this movie and wrote it with the animated film that has very unique animation to it. Explores a wide range of philosophical issues, including the nature of reality, dreams, and lucid dreams, consciousness, the meaning of life, free will, and existentialism. It centers around a young man who wanders through a succession of dreamlike realities where he encounters a series of people who engage in insightful philosophical discussions. And the film is basically rotoscoped, a technique that Richard Linklater would use for several other films down the road, including A Scanner Darkly, which I think he perfected it there, and Apollo 10.5, which I've yet to see yet, although I hear a lot of good things about that particular movie. It just came out recently. And that is the overall one particular thing about this movie that I'll say that's against it. The animation is good, but movies like A Scanner Darkly and Apollo 10.5, I think, perfected that much better. And yeah, this animation definitely pales in comparison to those two movies. I think the other two movies do it better, but for the time, it worked. And the writing overall is very good. It's Richard Linklater doing what Richard Linklater does best. A good cast overall, including people like Adam Goldberg, Ethan Hawke, Julie Delpy, reprising their roles from Before Sunrise. Just a good cast overall here. And really, like I said, it's mostly just Richard Linklater doing what Richard Linklater does well. And the animation, the rotoscope animation looks very good, but like I said, done way better with A Scanner Darkly and Apollo 10.5. But for this particular film, very stylized, very unique, very well done story-wise. It's easily the best movie that we have this week, because our last movie that we have here is Dancing at the Blue Iguana. Yeah, I couldn't even find a trailer for this, but this was a notable film for a number of different reasons. One, the director Michael Radford did Il Postino, which was the last film featuring Marcello Mastroianni. And this is a film that's basically an erotic drama about the lives of strippers at a gentleman's club. And the strippers include Sandra Oh, Charlotte Ayana, Kristen Bauer, Daryl Hannah, Sheila Kelly, Elias Codius is in the cast as well, so is Jennifer Tilly. And I only see like bits and pieces of the movie. And from what I saw from it, it's pretty good from what I saw from the little bits and pieces of it. I don't know if that takes up the advantage of the entire movie itself. I don't know if the rest of the movie itself is that good, but from the little bits and pieces I've seen from it, there are some promising elements to it. I think the acting overall is very good. It isn't just a movie where it is just strictly, watching these beautiful women stripping for you. It's not that at all, but it's actually a very compelling story from the little bits and pieces I've seen from it. I kind of still need to see the whole movie in full to really get a full glimpse at it, but from the little bits I saw from it, I thought there was a lot of good stuff to it, but I don't know if it's going to stick with the rest of the movie once I actually see the rest of it, but like I said, it's a good movie. I think it's a good movie from the little bits and pieces that I've seen from it, so gotta check out the rest of it at some point, but well, that's why I thought it was alright.
Who claims to come from a planet he calls K-Pax. His behavior is unusual.
That's a lovely configuration you're wearing.
His story is unbelievable.
You're really from up there?
But the truth may be the strangest part of all.
She says she doesn't hear so well on her left side, so don't sneak up on her anymore.
No way.
He can detect ultraviolet.
I didn't think human beings could see ultraviolet light.
We can't.
K-Pax.
Your produce alone isn't worth the trip.
It's funny how somebody compared this to Starman, and Jeff Bridges was, of course, in Starman. You'd probably be better off watching that movie than this film, but you have the story here of Kevin Spacey. He's a psychiatric patient who claims to be an alien from the planet K-Pax. And during his treatment, the patient demonstrates an outlook on life and ultimately proves inspirational for his fellow patients, and especially for a psychiatrist played by Jeff Bridges. And, yeah, I kind of already summed it up before. It's kind of it's basically just another retread of something like a Starman or One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which sounds pretty amazing when you really think about it, but in the long run, it doesn't really work out that way. This is actually based off of a novel of the same name, and it's got a pretty good cast to it, along with two of the great actors of the time, Spacey and Bridges, but also Mary McCormack, Alfre Woodard, David Patrick Kelly, Saul Williams. A really strong cast overall here, and a lot of things about the film that should work in its favor, but when it's all said and done, the script really is nothing new, and the only reason you'd be watching this movie in particular is if you want to see really good performances by both Kevin Spacey and Jeff Bridges, which I think is fine on some, because, yeah, these are two really good actors, and they are showing what they can do in this particular movie, and unfortunately, the story is just very generic, and it has nothing really new or interesting or anything too exciting that would make this anything that would be something that you have to watch on a regular basis. I'd say you'd only want to watch this one time just to see, Spacey and Bridges doing what Spacey and Bridges do best as actors. But other than that, though, it's just a one-time watch, honestly. I've watched it once. I've really had no intention on ever going back to it again. So, there. Take that for what you will. So, let's go ahead and move on to our next film, which is Warner Brothers and Dark Castle Entertainment. 2 years ago, they gave us House on Haunted Hill around Halloween. Now we have their next film that they have here. That is 13 Ghosts.
There are ghosts around us all the time. Most of them can't hurt us. Most of them don't even want to hurt us. But there are exceptions.
Is it bad tonight?
Oh, bad? It's my professional opinion. We should get the hell out of here. Down.
instructed my lawyer to deliver my last will and testament.
Key? Key to what?
A key to a new house. This house is the fruit of my life's work.
Oh my God.
It is a one-of-a-kind home.
It's marvelous, isn't it? After we've got some papers to sign in the library. After that, I would love to take you and your family around and tour of the house.
All right, now I know I'm dreaming.
Well, your uncle was quite a collector. Many things.
What the hell was that?
You're wasting your time. It's all sealed up.
This house is not a house. We're in the middle of a machine. Powered by the dead.
Maggie, what? We got company. I can't see. How close is it? Close to bringing. Go, go, go! Can I rely on you not to get me killed? I guarantee nothing.
So in this movie, you have this guy played by Tony Shalhoub and his two children, one of them played by Shannon Elizabeth, who inherit their uncle's estate, a glass house that serves as a prison to 12 ghosts. When the family gets there and enters the home, they find themselves trapped inside an evil machine, quote, designed by the devil and powered by the dead to open the eye of hell. Aided by this ghost hunter played by Matthew Lillard and his rival, a ghost rights activist out to set the ghosts free, the group must do whatever they can to get out of the house alive. So, it's a remake of the 1960 movie of the same name by William Castle, but at the same time, doesn't that sound like a haunted mansion? I mean, you have these people that come inside this house, and then all of a sudden, they're trapped inside with instead of 99 ghosts, it's just these 12 ghosts here. So, kind of makes it, I don't know, like, that's my comparison that I got from this. I never saw the original 13 Ghosts, but, I don't think I really need to see the original 13 Ghosts to know that that movie's probably much better than this movie is. At least with something like House on Haunted Hill, which was not a great movie, but it has its own visual style to it that makes it stand out on its own. This just feels like a movie that's trying to be something that's very much the same thing that House on Haunted Hill was, because that was the big success, and this one is, I mean, it was a success. It did make its money back at the box office, but it was not a critical success whatsoever. It was actually not as successful as House on Haunted Hill was. But House on Haunted Hill, like I said, had a nice visual look to it. This, on the other hand, the visuals really aren't that impressive overall. Like you can't really get a grip. Like, the whole thing about the house being so technologically advanced, and this glass house thing, like, we literally just had a movie a month ago called The Glass House, which was literally, which that title probably would have fit this movie much better, but other than that, though, it's just like, I mean, sometimes the visual effects can look pretty good. I mean, there is a little bit of a gothic feel to it, which actually fits for these movies by Dark Castle, but really, when it's all said and done, it's never really worth it in the end. I mean, like I said, I've never seen the original 13 Ghosts, but I already know it's better than this one, just by the fact that that movie was at least a campy movie, and William Castle was known for making those campy over-the-top movies. I mean, this works probably better as a B movie. They tried to play this straight, and it just didn't work. Even with the good cast they have here, Tony Shalhoub, Elizabeth, Matthew Lillard, Emmett Davids, and F. Murray Abraham, it's not enough to save the film when it's all said and done. So that's a hard pass on 13 Ghosts. So let's go ahead and move on to our next film, which is another horror film, and that is Snoop Dogg in Bones.
We killed you. This is the story of Jimmy Bones. I'm with you, baby. Black as night and hard as stone. It took his life. He never rested in peace. Now his vengeance will be unleashed. Snoop Dogg. All debts are paid, baby. Bones. Rated R. Starts Wednesday, October 24th.
So in Bones, you have Snoop Dogg playing the title character of Jimmy Bones, who's a murder numbers runner that rises from the grave to avenge his death. And the trailer doesn't really show it here, but it's presented as an homage to blaxploitation films in the 1970s, and incorporates a lot of numerous elements from the genre. And yeah, the marketing for this movie probably did not help the film overall when it came out, but since it's had time to really be reevaluated by people, it has been seen as a fun little homage to those blaxploitation horror movies in the 70s. In fact, this did a better job of trying to recreate the same magic as the original horror movie it was trying to copy, like 13 Ghosts. But this movie really, really makes it work. And I mean, mostly it's because of the fact that you have a good director, Ernest Dickerson, who gave us, he gave us Juice, and also was Spike Lee's original cinematographer. But not only that, you forget that Snoop Dogg can actually be a really good actor. Even though I didn't like him in The Underdogs, which came out last month as of the time of recording this, and I did a review for that, which I thought it was just a mediocre movie. You forget that Snoop Dogg can act, and he does show that he has a lot of acting power in this movie. Plus he's paired up with Pam Grier in this movie. I mean, Snoop Dogg and Pam Grier, how can you go wrong with a movie with those two in them? And I was surprised that the effects still held up. I mean, the effects of that trailer did not look too promising, but when you watch the movie overall, the movie actually works in a number of different ways, which once you realize that it's supposed to be an homage to those blaxploitation films of the 1970s, and I think it works in the film's favor. It gives us films this very unique style to it that really is very different and very unusual, and it's a really solid film. It's one of those movies that I really went into it thinking that it's just going to be a movie that probably was at the bottom of the box office because it was not a good movie to begin with, but then when it was all said and done, I was just kind of like, you know what? That's actually pretty good. I'll give Snoop Dogg his credit. He was actually pretty good at this movie. He does carry the film overall. So, yeah, I'd say definitely check this one out if you haven't seen it. It's actually really good. Like, it's one of those ones where it's just like, you'd be very surprised at how good this movie actually was. I highly recommend checking out Bones. It's definitely one that shows why it's a cult classic once you watch it years later. So that's Bones. So let's go ahead and move on to another movie with some music stars in them. The two of the guys from NSYNC. This is On the Line.
They met on the train.
Oh, man, let me get this straight. You didn't get no name, no number.
But he missed his chance.
What is wrong with this guy?
It's embarrassing when everyone knows you as the guy that always chokes.
Again?
Now, the whole city
He wants to interview you for the paper.
is out to help him find her.
I just wish I knew where she was.
We're looking for this girl. Anybody see this girl?
On the Line, directed by Eric Ross, featuring all new music by NSYNC and Britney Spears. Rated PG. In theaters everywhere Friday.
So in this movie, you have one of the guys from NSYNC. I actually don't know now at the top of my head, but the girl on the train is Emmanuel Shariki from Snow Day, and she only spends the rest of the movie he only spends the rest of the movie trying to reunite with her. One of those, love at first sight things, aided by his best friend in a quest of posters and signs that soon gave public notice. Will he ever find his soulmate? It's a romantic comedy with the guys from NSYNC. What do you think is going to happen? And I love how Lance Bass, who I guess is the main guy in the movie trying to find Emmanuel Shariki. I love how he basically blamed the box office on this because of what happened with September 11th. And he actually said this in his autobiography where he said, halfway through the press junket, the president declared war, and that was it. Our film was finished. We had wanted to entertain America to get back some good feelings, but once the country went to war, there was no way our film was going to be on anyone's top priority list. Miramax could have just moved this from a different time. Plus, you're opening it in October. Family films don't do well in October. I don't understand why people don't understand that, but then again, this was before, DreamWorks kind of opened the door with Shark Tale and then Wallace and Gromit, and maybe October I don't know if October is still considered considered now a prime time to release family films because all the kids are back at school. You only get the real box office when the weekend comes around. So I don't know. But in this film's case, it's just like if you really wanted this to be a success, you should have opened this somewhere later down the road. Well, like February or March or something like that. I don't know, maybe about the summertime, but the movie itself is just basically a thing for NSYNC to get their attention out there. But NSYNC was kind of losing their spark at this point. I mean, they wanted to make a movie that was on the level of something like A Hard Day's Night, but A Hard Day's Night we've talked about before on the show. That movie still holds up. It actually had a purpose to it. This movie just felt like a film that was just really trying to branch out the NSYNC guys as like the next big movie stars, and You know, it's a movie that really does not hold up well over time. It's a film that is really, really misguided on so many levels, and I wouldn't be like that. I wouldn't be surprised if Lance Bassett, Joey Fatone would actually be good actors, but they needed a better script than this, man. I mean, nothing about this movie was really going to do anything different for them. And even for Emmanuel Shariki, who I really like her. I thought she was really hot in Snow Day, but I grew up around that. I grew up at the time when I could think that, and that wouldn't be weird. But I mean, she still looks beautiful, even over 20 years later. But like, you know, it's not her fault. It's not anyone's fault in the cast that the movie is bad. It's just the script overall doesn't have anything funny to give these people to work with here. The director's not even that great either. This guy, Eric Bross, who I've never heard of some of the other movies he directed. I mean, the most notable film I see on here are Johnny Capalla, Back on Board, the Johnny Tsunami sequel, and Vacancy 2, The First Cut, which was a direct-to-video sequel to Vacancy. If those are the... he also did the Martha Stewart TV movie where she went to prison. I mean, yes, that's something, but, yeah, this guy has not done anything of noteworthiness since this movie came out, or even before then, so this guy's not that great of a director overall, so that's your second mistake right there. I don't know, a better script probably may have saved this movie, maybe a better director, maybe he got a seasoned film director, but not in a movie like this, though. You really needed to get some people that knew what they were doing, and give these guys a good script to work with here, but it's just a generic movie. It's a film that you see it, you can pretty much predict what's going to happen. They're going to get together at the end. There's no big surprises whatsoever. It's just like yada, yada, yada. We've been through this already. It's just like, you expect so much more from it, but unfortunately, it's not worth it when it's all said and done. So, yeah, this isn't worth it. On the Line, yeah, not so much. And once again, the best movie that came out this weekend was one that was not shown in theaters everywhere around this time. Let's talk about Richard Kelly's Donnie Darko.
It was as though this plan had been with him all his life. Now, in his 15th year, crystallized with the pain of puberty.
I haven't seen stuff.
I think what you're talking about is an act of God.
Time is running out. Donnie Darko. I just can't stop. Rated R. Starts Friday.
So in Donnie Darko, you have Jake Gyllenhaal playing an emotionally troubled teenager who advertently escapes a bizarre accident by sleepwalking, and he has visions of Frank, a mysterious figure in a rabbit costume, who informs him that the world will end in just over 28 days. Now, there's a lot of notable things about this particular movie. In fact, Richard Kelly has said that it was because of Christopher Nolan and his wife Emma Thomas, he basically thanked them for basically getting this movie out there. I mean, they were the ones who were instrumental in getting this a theatrical release. I mean, this was almost going to go straight to TV as a cable movie for Stars. And there was a lot of things against this movie from the very beginning. Like, there's a shot where Donnie firing a gun became one of the big problems for why Richard Kelly couldn't sell the film to a studio, because the Columbine High School massacre just happened at that point. There was a lot of licensed songs that prevented problems. They had to pay to get those in there. And the film essentially was almost removed entirely for a theatrical release. And he also had to cut down 30 minutes of film, which was later re-edited into the director's cut, which came out a couple years later. And then, of course, there was a scene where there's an accident involving an aircraft. And, of course, September 11th had just happened, which basically dampened any chance of this movie making a success at the box office. And the film kind of crashed and burned when it came out, but it has since gone on to have that massive cult following in the years since, and there was even a sequel that was not involved with Richard Kelly in any way, shape, or form that went straight to DVD, S. Darko, which I've seen, and I immediately regret ever seeing that movie, but this original the original Donnie Darko is a classic movie. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal is great in here. You got a cast that also includes Jenna Malone, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Drew Barrymore, who's one of the producers, Mary McDonnell, Catherine Ross, Patrick Swayze, Noah Wiley, Devay Chase. Phenomenal cast overall in this movie, and the visuals in this movie are still very intense to look at. I mean, they're still very impressive even by today's standards, and it's hard for me to go back and forth which cut I like better, the original cut or the director's cut, because I like the director's cut a lot. I like that they had the new stuff they add in here, but the original version I don't think is as bad as people make it out to be. It's the more I think about it, though, I probably would say the director's cut's better, because you get to see what Richard Kelly wanted to do the whole time, and yeah, because of what happened with the month before, you can tell why the film probably had to be cut down a lot, but once they saw the cult following begin to take shape, they say, look, let's put this director's cut in theaters and see what happens from there. And sure enough, this became one of the big cult classics of all time. I mean, that character of Frank has become a significant cultural icon in his own right. I mean, that's one of those great rabbit characters, and there's just something amazing about this movie's bleak visual feel to it. And it's just like, it's a great film, man. I love this movie so much, man. I mean, this is easily the best thing Richard Kelly has directed. Even though the film he did after this, Southland Tales, was not as bad. I don't think it was as bad as people made it out to be, but we'll eventually get to that one once we get down the road. But he's only made 3 movies as a director, and this last one's probably easily his worst film, and that's The Box, with Cameron Diaz and Frank Langella in it. But again, we'll get to that one when we get to 2009. But Donnie Darko is a really good movie. I don't think I need to say much more about this that hasn't already been said, but if you haven't seen it, you're probably doing yourself a damn disservice by not doing so. So check out Donnie Darko.